Geeky Drummer over here, aka Shartimus Prime. If you're a Transformers fan and you do not collect Transformers Masterpiece figures, I mean, what's wrong with you, man? These things are amazing. Their alt modes look like this. The robot modes are astounding and look like this. Getting onto the drums, I want to apologize first off for not having everything written out like I had wanted to do. Anyway, talking about the Transformers G1 theme song. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, way back in the day. I want to say back like 2003 or something like that. I want to say I thought the song was an odd time, but it's not. It's actually just in 4/4. I believe it's at 80 beats per minute. The thing that's kind of weird about it though, pretty sure that it's a much longer recording that they had just taken that snippet out. So the way it started out for me was when I count the song in, I go 3E and a 4E and a doot bop bop, and I start playing. So, and when the song really starts at the chorus, the Transformers, that one where it starts isn't actually on 1, it comes in on 3. So I'm really under the belief that, you know, there's a half a measure kind of missing there. The other thing is that the sounds, kaboosh, the Transformers, all that. It's a little distracting when you're trying to, you know, learn what the drummer's doing. I thought the drummer was very solid. It sounded like he was a session drummer from the 80s. I'm assuming this was recorded in 1984, maybe a little earlier. But he's just playing really solid, and he's definitely hitting those snare hits. Now the snare hits I'm counting as the of 1 and 2, and then the of 3, and then 4. And that one I have written out over here so you can see that. So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, and I added my little flourish of a little bit of a buzz right before the kick drum note, so I'm going to raboof, raboof, shall raboof. But that's the underlying beat right there. Another thing that's kind of tricky is that there's hits in this song that really remind me of big band drumming. And another thing to note about big band drumming is that you have to be a driving force, and when you make hits with the horn section, you kind of have to lag just a little bit, just a hair, because they tend to just play just a little bit slower, just the nature of their instruments and everything and the sound. So when you have that Transformers, bop, it's like you kind of have to drag for that 1 second and then go right back into driving forward with that 16th note groove. So you have a couple of hits there. There's another one that goes bop, bop. And then it gets into the Autobots wage their battle to defeat the evil forces of the Decepticons. That's a little bit of a tricky part because it's a 3-note phrase with a 4-note groove, right? We talked about 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Well, this is a 3-note phrase, and as you saw, I went 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 for the first half of those 6 hits. The second half, I added 32nd notes on the tom. So then 2 kicks, and then snare drum, and then 2 cymbal hits with the kick drum to take us back into the groove. And then later on, you have that little note where you hear the strings go ba-na-na. I did a little flam between the left tom and the snare drum, bladum bladum. And then at the end, just did a tom fill, which kind of came out a little bit weird because I go the Transformers to go, so I end up hitting the crash cymbal with my left hand instead of my right, which didn't happen out of any particular choice. It just kind of felt that way coming out of that tom fill. And then when it goes, you know, the horns, you hear all, that's one of those things you just have to feel for it. So I started just doing the tom roll, and you can tell that like I hang on to the floor tom because it's kind of tricky to feel where that ends up. If I was a little bit more familiar with it, had a little bit more practice and a little bit more toms, I would probably hang around the higher toms first before spending so much time on that floor tom. You know, it's my little nitpick on myself for that. But I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. It's pretty fun to drum along to, pretty tricky. I highly recommend you try drumming to it because it's not hard, but it's definitely tricky. So any drummers out there, try drumming to it, have fun. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video because it's a very young YouTube channel. So you gotta spread the word. Geeky Drummer, Geeky Drummer, Geeky Drummer. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Oh yeah, next week, Spider-Man.